everyone, welcome to week 7. We are going to be discussing desktop publishing, which for our purposes will include newsletters and brochures that you can use in your classroom. And so again, remember to start your slideshow, play from the start, and that will make all your links active. I believe that I have hyperlinked all the links throughout the presentation. Forgive me if I haven't. The picture should be hyperlinked as well. So this week our overview is we're going to do some desktop publishing introductions. I'm going to show you some samples. And then also you're going to see some templates and some tools that you can use to create these publications for your classroom. And then we also are going to talk about our discussion board questions as well as our assignments for this week. So for our preview, again, desktop publishing is our topic. Our standard for this week is ISTE Nuts for Teachers, and that's engage in professional growth and leadership. So you are promoting and demonstrating the effective use of digital tools and resources through your publications, and hopefully with these publications you'll also be able to serve as a real kind of thought leader. So not only are you publishing for your class, but maybe for a personal learning community, and certainly maybe your localized school district community, etc. And so you'll notice I have moved our essential questions to the beginning of the presentation. So we're going to start out with a little bit of reflection and then we'll circle back to them at the end of the presentation. But I wanted to get you thinking about the essential questions before we even start, so you know what to look for throughout the presentation, which will make your answering of the discussion board prompts a lot easier, hopefully. So number 1, what are the key core content and design elements of a class-based newsletter? And then number 2, how do the components of a brochure differ from that of a newsletter? You're going to be creating both, and yes, you can use the content from one in the other as well. And then number 3, what are 2 to 3 cloud-based newsletter tools that can support your consistent communication? So what are some of those tools that will make this sort of publication and communication style easy for you? And remember, you will be able to find all of your answers to these questions in this presentation. Please do not post more than a paragraph in your discussion board, and answer as concisely, short but effective as possible. So think of this as kind of like a Twitter post. They only give you 150 characters. I'm giving you more than that, but keep it as concise as possible. Okay, so connecting. What are some design strategies and samples for you? And I've told you before that Blackboard has partnered with lynda.com. So we have their wonderful tutorials already created for us and for our use. Normally in the past I would have to create all these for you, and fortunately now I can just link to them. So this is a great resource for you. I found 3 that I thought would be really helpful to you. They are quite lengthy. One is, you'll see the other 2 coming up, but one is about 50 minutes, and then one's about 2 hours, and then one's a little under 2 hours. I'm not expecting you to listen to every minute of it. I'm not expecting you to memorize every minute of it. You must feel free to go ahead and fast forward and rewind and really just kind of seek out the key parts that you think would be helpful to you. With an hour and then almost 2 hours for the other 2 each, you're looking at about 5 hours of training. And you certainly don't have to, again, memorize each minute of that, but really learn to kind of seek out what core components of these tutorials would help you, and then focus in on those. A lot of them will allow you to view the transcript, and I suggest you do that as well, because then in the transcript you can do a keyword search. And remember, we've talked about doing a keyword search. So look at the transcript, and then maybe you're just wanting to deal with the workspace. So here you see over here, Document Essentials, you have the workspace there, okay? And then here on the left side, notice there's a table of contents that's hyperlinked. And you can click on that and it will take you to that point in the video, right? So you'll be able to skip all of those unnecessary tidbits and points of information prior to that, so you can just skip through. There's also exercise files in there. You're welcome to do those. I encourage that. Certainly go through the key parts of the video, but again, you don't have to watch every minute. So here's the link to it, and it should take you directly out to it, and it does. Okay, and then you can also, it's linked in our Blackboard course, and it's under the resources folder with all of our other tutorial sessions and resources for this assignment, like I typically do. So we'll let that load. I'm going to log in, and actually I'm already logged in. So we'll go to the hybrid section, and I'll show you where it's at. So again, remember that I put all of your assignment information. You have 5 assignments on the website. All of that's going under your assignments, which is there. And you have your assignment number 3 and number 4, so the brochure and newsletter folder right here. Click on that. And you have lots of templates. We're going to discuss this later on, but I also wanted you to see that these are linked here. So these are the 3 lendo.com videos I gave to you: creating a newsletter, designing a brochure, and creating an HTML email newsletter. So again, they're all really great tutorials, and I highly suggest you watch as much of them as time will allow. Okay. So here's the other one, creating an HTML email newsletter. So you may have heard of products like Constant Contact. Those generally are about $20 a month, and remember I told you that I'll tell you about the paid services, but certainly want to give you free options too. So here's how to create it yourself, that email web-based newsletter for you. And this is a great video. Highly suggest you watch it. And this will allow you to create newsletters via email that will have interactive design with the web via the HTML. Okay, that link is also hyperlinked and will take you directly to lendo.com. Again, it's also in our Blackboard resource folder for you for assignment 3 and 4. Okay, and your third one, designing a brochure. So that's also hyperlinked there for you. Transcript is there. Look at the FAQs as well. Certainly download that transcript and keep it in your files. Here is another brochure sample list for you. We will be talking about Pinterest later on in our course. It's a great social media tool that actually is one of the more faster growing tools. And hopefully you're on Pinterest. If you aren't, we'll be creating those accounts later. But for now, this is a really great resource for you to look at different types of K-12 classroom-based brochures. And I did quite a search for you, and this was actually one of the better ones I found. So these are just real-life teachers that have created brochures for their classroom and have loaded them on here to Pinterest for your use. So sorry that it's going a while. There we go. Network's just a little slow today. Okay. So you have a whole bunch of different classroom resources, but certainly here's the newsletters. You can kind of see these are student-created ones, real fun. They had one about a travel brochure, ocean animals, open house brochures. That's certainly very useful for you, and you could certainly have students help you with that. Here are seasons brochures, okay? So take some time and go through them. Here's one on health. All right. Really kind of look through these different samples here and see what works for you, and you can certainly use them as a sample for your assignment. So if you want to pick one of these themes, go ahead and feel free to do that. Okay. I also wanted to give you a couple of lesson plan samples about how to use brochures in your classroom. And so here's a full lesson plan. This is Read, Write, and Think, which is a great website resource for you. It's published by the International Literacy Association and NCTE. So lots of great resources there for you. Sorry. And here's the link to that. This lesson plan is all about our town. So it's an informational brochure about the town the students live in, and the goal is to teach informational writing. So you can take a tour of your town, either virtual or in real life, and then create a brochure informing others about your town. So here's a whole list of printouts and resources for you to do that lesson plan. And it also gives you the step-by-step preparation. This is very similar to your WebQuest layout, right? All right. So I'll let you peruse through that. Here's also another lesson plan sample for you using brochures in the K-12 classroom. And so let's just go ahead. This is desktop to pub. It's an about.com, which is more of a, about.com is sort of like a Wikipedia, but I think it's still a good resource for you. I did go through it and it seemed like it would be really helpful for you in terms of actually using the resource in your classroom. So I will check that link, and this should actually download for you. Okay. And it gives you a little brief overview, and here's the first lesson. And then applying some of those tools and templates. Number one, you're looking at brochures and e-publications. EPUB is short for e-publications, multimedia tools. And a fairly new one that has just been released is Sway, which is by Microsoft, and it's part of the Office suite now. And here's a short tutorial that I found for you and I thought would be helpful. It was just published last month, and it is linked to YouTube. And Sway is a little bit like, seems to me very much like that app that I shared with you, Explain Everything, where you could use different types of multimedia and kind of do a mashup in this Sway product to create a visual multimedia story of whatever you wanted to talk about.
These different devices and shapes. You do that by telling Sway what matters to you, and then letting Sway take care of the rest. We call this doing things the Sway way. The Sway storyline is where you do most of your work. You type text, add images, videos, and other stuff here. You can rearrange the structure of your story using cards that represent each piece of content. On the right, Sway is building up a preview as...
Okay, so I'll let you go ahead and watch that video. It's a very simple movie maker, editor, storytelling tool, and could even be a multimedia brochure or newsletter for you as well. So take the time, it's just a 3-minute video, watch that. I think it's a wonderful tool that could have huge implications for your professional development as well as using it with the students in your classroom. There's also these 2 templates that I found for you that seem to be a very simple education-based brochure template published by Xerox, and wanted to share that with you as well. I'm not going to click on the link because it's exactly what you see there, but feel free if you want to download either one and use them. They're free for use. Also, I've given this to you before. This is Microsoft 365 education templates. You have access to all these because you have a Microsoft 365 account, and we can go there now. I linked you directly to education, but feel free to look through these other categories too. There are brochures and budgets and all of that, and that may or may not be part of the education suite. So, of course, you can browse by product, which is Excel or PowerPoint or Word. So here is their education templates. And It's loading. Okay. So there's lesson plans, quiz game show, that's always fun that you can use in your classroom, PowerPoints, back to school checklists. So feel free, definitely make use of these templates, and that's under education. And then notice that they also have brochures here, and I'll click on that. So here's some pre-existing brochures. You just download that. This one's in PowerPoint. I think there's some in Word and there's some in PowerPoint. So just pick which one would be more easy for you or useful for you. And you download and then just click in the box and start typing in your content specifically. But the design, the photographs you can change as well, or you can keep the ones that are there. It's already ready to go for you. Okay? As a teacher, you should not be having to design your own products like this. There are so many free templates, so don't spend your time doing that unless there's just something absolutely custom that you have to have. Okay. And then the same thing with Google Education templates as well. They have a lot of just straight brochures. Now, Microsoft 365, all of their templates were published by pure professionals. So you know everything you get there is of the highest quality. It's a little bit different with Google. Some of this is crowdsourced, and so that means that non-teachers, new teachers, anybody could be publishing their templates here. So you want to have a little bit more of a critical eye and be more selective what you find here and what you use. So see here, you can submit a template, you can search templates here. Here's templates that you've used in the past or your templates that you've created. Right, you also see the hottest, that's always fun to search for. But again, you're going to have a little bit more critical an eye with this resource. Okay. And it should have taken my, let's try this again. Now for some reason the link doesn't work. We can always go back and copy and paste it, so that's good troubleshooting for you anyway. And that should work. There we go, directly. I'll check that link. So here are your links. Again, everybody can submit new template galleries and docs and sheets and slides. Also sort by most users. That would help to kind of narrow down. And so here's a science brochure, Ottoman Empire, maybe the hottest, and you can see your highest rating. I always like those too. Other people have rated these as a good thing. Brochure templates. Okay. So again, feel free to use any of those. This element brochure looks like it has been designed pretty well. Here's a fully online learning. Okay, so feel free to go through those and select ones that would work for you. Okay, so back to our slideshow here. There's also an app that I wanted to share with you. I did go ahead and pay for this. It is $9.99, so that's a disclaimer. And it's the Apple app education templates for Pages. You do have to have Pages if you have a Mac. That is free for your computer. But this suite of templates are $9.99. I looked through them. They're good. They're all put up by professionals. I don't think that there's anything here that you can't find somewhere else, though. Microsoft 365 templates or Google. I think pretty much everything I've seen here has been covered. It's nice just having it all in one place for education, but it's up to you if you want to pay the $9.99. I did buy a template suite for Pages a few months ago because I was creating brochures and all that. It was like more $39.99, and that was well worth it, I think. So, also here are some e-publication templates or resources for you. I wanted to share. It's a good resource. Again, it's usefulness rating 1 to 5, ease of use, and so for your newsletters and that sort of thing, there's this letter pop that could work for you. and it's free. You can do newsletters, and there's templates and all of that. So that is certainly an option for you, and we'll go there. Okay. It is medium ease of use, but I still think you all could handle it.
So you want to create and distribute a beautiful newsletter, but you also want to tweet it, push it to Facebook, post it on Flickr, link it to an RSS feed, or even send it via email, which IMHO ain't the coolest way to travel these days. Now, of course you'll want to create your newsletter and manage it all in one place without all the complicated setup hassles or fancy analytics, and without spinning a lot on bells and whistles, which quite frankly have nothing to do with newsletters. No, you just want to manage your newsletter in a way that's as simple as create, publish, and share. You just want something like Letterpop. It's ridiculously easy to use and handles newsletter creation and distribution beautifully. Here's how.
Okay, so I will let you go through the rest of that video, and I think this is a pretty good tool if that's something you wanted to do in terms of publishing it automatically and to all of these different social media outlets. You could, of course, share it through all these social media outlets on your own. It just takes some extra steps. I showed you Hootsuite last week, and you could certainly load your newsletter into there and then publish out to all your social media accounts at once there too, which is free for you as a student and teacher. So it's up to you. Here's just one other resource for you, and then there's many other resources here as well. Okay. So reflecting on all that content and those tools, here's your questions again. What are the key core content and design elements of a class-based newsletter? You're going to get that from those videos, either the lynda.com videos, perhaps Sway. You also had some template samples there for you. So look through all those and then just pick the top 2 or 3. You don't have to give me a list of more than that. Just 2 or 3 core content. I want to know that you looked through the information and found the core pieces. Again, number 2, how do the components of a brochure differ from that of a newsletter? So again, that will come from the different tutorials. lynda.com is probably one of the best, or you can also look at the samples. And then what are 3 to 5 cloud-based newsletter tools? I just showed you one. Sway, I'll give you one as another. There's a whole list of them that I gave you this week. And then there's a 4th question here. You'll notice that I added at the end, and this will be extra if you want to answer that. How can social media empower serve as your newsletters to various stakeholders? And the video I just showed you will help you with that too. And that's a bonus question though. Again, all of your answers to these questions come from this presentation and the resources that I've given you within the presentation. Please do not go out and do a lot of extra other research. I've done that for you, and spend your time with the resources here, not looking for additional. Do not post more than a paragraph, and be very concise and as summarizing in your answer as possible. Okay. So here's your discussion board rubrics. Same, nothing's changed. Again, I'm looking for your initial response by Wednesday at 11:59 p.m. I'm looking for 2 additional responses by Saturday at 11:59. And I'm looking for critical thinking. I read a lot of these, and I'm looking for that 1 or 2 posts that I can pull out and say, wow, this person really thought about this. There's some insight. Boy, I hadn't thought of that before. And really gave me some solid analysis of what we were talking about. It's grammar and spell checked, and you made some connections to other things we've been learning in our class, or perhaps things that you've been learning in other classes. Here is our assignment overview. I've been getting questions about our assignment due dates. This is the same. This was what I published on day 1, and it's still the same today. So the only thing I've added to this is the actual, I was due on week 4, but I was more specific and said Saturday, September 12th, 11:59. But the week number has always been the same. I just was even more specific and gave you the actual Saturday date for the assignments. So you now have a multimedia presentation, or your PowerPoint, which is due week 15. That's actually 12/5, forgive that typo, 12/5, week 15. Your last week is week 16, and that's 12/12. So that's the, and the week before that would be 12/5. So forgive that typo there, but it's still week 15. And then your newsletter, Media Rich newsletter, is due on Halloween, sorry for that, at 11:59. So that's week 11. Same thing with your brochure. They're due together. Please feel free to use the same content on both at 11:59 on Saturday, 10:31. Now, I've had questions again about that newsletter and brochure. Yes, it can be the same content from your lesson plan, your web quest, and your PowerPoint, where you can kind of have a theme of things that go together. You also can make it a back-to-school brochure, as you'll see in some of the samples I gave you earlier. You can do an open house. You can do an informational brochure about yourself, which would be a wonderful tool to put into your portfolio for when you're interviewing for jobs. And you can list the classes you've taken. You can list the extracurricular would be a topic. You can list your major accomplishments and awards, that sort of thing. So it would be a brochure about you as an educational professional that's looking for a job type thing. Okay, or it'd be great to hand out to your teacher or your parents and fellow teachers and put up on your website as well. Your website's due week 16, 12/12, Saturday, 11:59. Now, with these last 4 assignments, even though they're not due, this is week 7, so you have 4 weeks for the newsletter and brochure, you have 8 weeks for the PowerPoint, and you have 9 weeks for your website. Please get those to me as soon as you are able. Of course, I want high quality products. I want your very, very best work. Not only for me, but I want your very best work for your portfolio, because that's what you're going to carry with you into future classes. That's what you're going to take into interviews. And that is what is a reflection of your overall work. So I want your work from this class to be really high quality and to reflect the amount of hard work that you put into it. So do your very best work, and please get them to me as soon as possible, and then I will be able to grade them sooner rather than later and get them returned to you. If I get everything on week 15 and 16 in terms of your PowerPoint and your newsletter, or I'm sorry, your website, it will be difficult for me to get that all graded before I have to turn in grades. So please get them to me as soon as possible, but again, make sure it's your very best work. All right. Remember that your discussion board is 20% of your grade, and that your active participation and attendance is 20% of your grade. Attendance for my hybrid classes that meet face-to-face, that means that you show up on time and you stay the full time. With the attendance for my internet-only students, attendance is discussion boards and responding to those in an appropriate, timely manner. Now, active participation, that is where I'm taking, or I'm going to be grading your username account Google survey that you're returning to me, and that basically you're doing all of those tasks that I give you on a weekly basis, okay? And then, of course, you have your assignments here, and they're at 10% each. Extending, again, here's your assignment. So just to review, your instructional PowerPoint was assigned week 4. It's due week 15 on 12/5, or sooner the better. All of your resources can be found under that assignment number 2, instructional PowerPoint. Your weekly website, the initial account was created week 3, and so that's going to be ongoing, and then it's due week 16. I will be publishing lots more of those requirements and rubrics soon. And then your brochure and newsletter template was assigned this week, due week 11, and that's on 10/31. The sooner the better, and I will be giving you rubrics for that as well. Okay. Participation tasks, again, make sure you are keeping all your usernames and passwords in one easy to access file. I will be collecting your usernames only. I don't want your passwords. Usernames only via Google survey, which I will post this week in the announcements. So look at the announcements for the link to that survey, and that's going to go into your participation grade. Okay, so thank you very much. I hope you all have a wonderful week, and please feel free to email me, call me, come to office hours, however I can help you. Please make sure you're working with your learning partners and asking questions. I'm seeing some good collaboration there with the student-to-student collaboration, so thank you for that. And that's very good training for your future teaching career. So I am really enjoying working with you all, and thank you for your efforts. Have a good week.